presentation of TNT Sports.
On the verge of a semifinal breakthrough in New York, the Hornets lost their sting. Charlotte had a double-digit lead with under 5 minutes left, but the Knicks have a knack for the comeback. The duel between the Georgetown Giants provided fodder for the highlight reel, but the Ewing Morning matchup took a backseat to the story of a developing upset. A big third quarter had the Hornets in shape to tie the series, but the Knicks got a lift from an unexpected source. First-year guy Hubert Davis.
There's the three by Davis for the tie. How about the rookie?
They need overtime to settle the issue, and Patrick Ewing did the settling, staking New York to a 2-game lead. In the West, the Rockets head to Houston after failing to dent Seattle's home court armor. It was Payton's place as the Sonics took a 2-0 lead. Gary Payton, a playoff-high 22. Still, the Sonics were down late in the third. That's when Eddie Johnson launched the rocket.
Eddie Johnson will try to beat the buzzer from midcourt. He beat it!
Seattle owned the final period. Sam Perkins once again displayed his long-range touch, and it was a happy 42nd birthday for George Karl. Tonight, we'll tip off our doubleheader in Chicago. Michael Jordan, for whom the spectacular has become routine, tries to keep the Bulls unbeaten in the postseason. The Cavs look for answers and for big-time production from their big guns in Game 2. Then it's on to Phoenix. Sir Charles and the Suns, determined to avoid a repeat of their Round 1 scare, brace for another attack from the Admiral as the Spurs set their sights on a split at America West Arena. If you walk upright, you'll be up all night. The playoffs continue on TNT. And welcome to another full night of NBA playoff action on TNT. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta. You'll see the Suns and Spurs a little later in Phoenix. The Suns up 1-0. We'll tip off our doubleheader in Chicago. And the task at hand for Cleveland is to try and slow down Michael Jordan, who lit him up for 43 in the opener. And who better to talk about that challenge than the guy who authored the Jordan rules while in Detroit, now the head coach of the New Jersey Nets, Chuck Daly. Lenny Wilkins said, hey, give me a copy of those rules yet?
He called, but they're extinct now. They no longer work. He got too many good teammates.
What does work? Anything?
Not a whole lot. You've got to be very physical with them, and but you've got to play a long 48 minutes with more than one guy.
How about Cleveland now? And in the series with you, you took Game 2 on their floor, took the home court edge away. The Cavs are in that shape tonight in Chicago.
I like to steal Game 2. I think if you're going to steal one, that's the one to get.
Why is that?
I don't know. It is psychological. Maybe the fact that they had a chance to make an adjustment. The other club thinks, well, we've got the series in hand. It happens a lot.
If it happens tonight, the series will be tied 1 apiece. The coach and I will be back at halftime right now. Settle in, get that playoff focus. We're playing 2. First stop, Chicago. MJ and the Bulls perfect in the playoffs. Try to go up 2-zip on the Cavs. We'll send you to Chicago Stadium next.
The 1993 NBA Playoffs on TNT is brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural. Proud to be your Bud. By Jeep and Eagle, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. And by AT&T, the official telecommunications company of the NBA.
With Jack Givens, this is Bob Neal from Chicago Stadium. The Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 2. Chicago up 1-0, winning the first one, 91-84. Behind 43 points from Michael Jordan. Cleveland, in the offseason, brought in Gerald Wilkins to be the Jordan stopper. But if you'll read the lips, he can't guard me. He can't guard me. Michael Jordan, 43 points, 4 assists, a block shot. He sold popcorn. He's fixing the expressway. And thank goodness I'm with Jack Givens, our expert on the Jordan problem. Now what?
I can't figure it out either. I'll tell you what, even though Michael Jordan had 43 points and a lot of those came against Gerald Wilkins, he says he's happy with the way he played Michael. You know, I don't know. But obviously they have to do something differently. 2 things maybe. The double teams have to come a lot more aggressively than they did in that game number 1. The other thing is when Michael does get to the paint, you have to put a body on it. You can't let him go in there uncontested. He did that all night in game 1.
Now, the other part of this game that I thought was so interesting the other night was the Chicago defense. When Chicago wins, it's usually by defense. their full court pressure, also their post defense. Very good.
Yeah, part of the game that goes unnoticed, really, but they pressure the ball up the floor. Cleveland struggled all night getting the ball up. When they did, they had to rush offensively. The other thing, Chicago did very well. They put the pressure on Brad Daugherty. He had just 8 shots in that game. Cleveland will not win this series if he gets 8 shots. He made 6 of them, but you see what he did in game 1.
Now, also, there's somewhat of a controversy, at least the press from Cleveland and in Chicago has made it that, and that is that all-star point guard did not play. Mark Price didn't play the final 7 minutes of the game on Tuesday night.
You know, Lenny has a lot of confidence in Terrell Brandon, but this Cleveland team is definitely a much better team with Mark Price on the floor, especially down the stretch. They'll need him in there. He will be in there tonight.
And we have learned that Horace Grant, by the way, while being iffy with his sprained ankle, is going to give it a go and will start for the Bulls tonight. He is a significant factor. We'll be back here in just a moment with the starting lineups and the opening tip-off from the Madhouse on Madison Street. Bob Neal and Goose Gibbons with you from Chicago Stadium. Of course, it's a sellout, 18,676, standing room only. Here are our Jeep Eagles starting matchups. Cartwright got the best of Daugherty in the matchup the other night. Let's start right there, Goose Gibbons, Cartwright and Daugherty.
Well, the problem there for Cleveland is they did not get enough shots for Brad because of the aggressive double teams coming from Chicago. Another problem is Brad Daugherty was not nearly as aggressive, I think, in making the moves to the basket as he needs to be. He will be more aggressive here tonight. They will try to get him more shots.
And the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Lenny Wilkins. He took some heat in the Cleveland press and, frankly, some in Chicago for having Mark Price, their all-star point guard, on the bench the final 7 minutes of the game. But he said he was going by feel and felt like Terrell Brandon should stay on the floor. Phil Jackson hasn't had any heat. That's because his Bulls are 4-0 in the playoffs of 1993. Horace Grant sprained his ankle in the first quarter of game number 1. He limped throughout that game, and most people thought he might not be in this game. Matter of fact, might not even be dressed out. But Horace said he is going to give it a go. Joe Crawford. Jack Madden and Don Dayton are our officials tonight, and this game is underway. Elo and Price in the backcourt with Sanders, Daugherty, and Larry Nance up front for the Cavaliers.
And I think Brad Daugherty will touch the ball an awful lot tonight, and I think you'll see him make quicker moves to the basket to try to get more shots.
Trying to post up Mike Sanders over the shorter B.J. Armstrong. Sanders had the advantage, missed the jumper. Pippen. Here we go again. Jordan, bullet pass inside to Horace Grant. Looked pretty agile on his ankle.
Nice to go right to Grant to give him a chance to see if he's going to get going. Of course, he makes that first shot, and that helps that ankle very much.
Elo with the pass from Price missed the lay-in. It was put back in by Larry Nance, and it's tied at 2. Bulls jumped out 8-0 in game number 1 before the Cavs came back.
I think Pippen is another guy Chicago will try to get involved in things early in this ball game.
Cartwright into the paint, has it punched away. Mark Price
has it stripped by Scottie Pippen. You know, they restarted the shot clock. I don't know if we ever had possession of it. They gave him a new 24.
Jordan into the paint. Blocked from behind by Sanders. Tied at 2. Just underway from Chicago Stadium. Mark Price into Daugherty. Now,
there's that quick move. There's that quick move. I look for Brad to make more of those.
Offensive rebound and then the block shot. Daugherty goes back, stripped by B.J. Armstrong to Jordan. Chicago. Full court pressure.
Now this is a problem Cleveland faced in game 1, bringing the ball up the floor. A lot of times when they got into their offense, it was below 10 seconds on the clock. They didn't have a chance to get into the pick and roll that they like to run with Mark Price.
And as Sanders gets the ball, he hits the jump shot. He was warming up with jump shots. They may try to get him away from the low block down there to hit some of those mid-range jumpers.
Well, it takes out one of the guys that Cleveland likes to double team with on Brad Daugherty.
Got a foul down on the block. It's on Larry Nance for pushing Horace Grant. Nance's first personal foul. There's another man who didn't get involved in the offense very much.
5 of 13. You know, 13 shot attempts for him is pretty good. He just needs to make a higher percentage of them.
go, first quarter. Pippen into the paint as it punched away. And it'll be Cleveland ball. Chicago and Cleveland tied at 4, 9:37 to go in the first quarter. Price out of control.
Yeah, I think Pippen needs to take that shot. Yeah, I think he just needs to be more aggressive offensively. He really did not even look for his shots in game one. They need his production.
Trouble inbounding the ball. Nance brings it down. Bulls by 2. Knocked out of bounds by Cartwright, 11 on the shot clock.
Well, that's that defense Chicago has played so well here in the playoffs. They really took it defensively to Atlanta in the first round, went right through that. The last 2 ball games, the last game against Atlanta and then the first game of this series, they held both of these teams below 90 points.
Larry Nance with the drive and the lay-in, and it's tied at 6. Starting out with Elo on Michael Jordan. Gerald Wilkins will come off the bench to see what he can do a little bit later. Cartwright over Doherty. Cartwright, 1 for 1. Everybody on the Bulls starting lineup has scored except for number 23.
You know, Michael said he would rather not have to carry the whole load. I think he would sit back and allow the rest of the guys to get involved here early, knowing that he's going to have his opportunities later.
Elo struggled from the perimeter in game 1, and he starts out 0 for 1 here tonight. Michael off one leg, misses the bank shot. Larry Nance with a rebound. Good poster shot, though. That'd be a good photo.
Well, you see the problems right here that Cleveland has had bringing the ball up the floor. They're taking the ball out of the hand of Mark Price, forcing someone else to bring it up. And once again, the shot clock now at 10, so they have to struggle to get the shot up.
Elo driving on Jordan off the glass. Nice move by Craig Elo. That's the 4th time the game has been tied early with just under 8 minutes to go in quarter number 1.
And I think it's important the last couple times down, Mark Price hasn't touched the ball in starting Cleveland's offense.
Pippen blows right by Sanders, but is fouled by Sanders.
And you hear this crowd in the background. I think everyone here in Chicago understands the importance of this guy you're looking at. His playoff average is down to about 13 points a game. They need him up around 19 points a ball game to really take the pressure off of Jordan. And of course, when he is doing the things offensively, everyone else is involved.
This is his first free throw. Bulls struggled from the free throw lines all year, particularly Scottie Pippen. As you see, 18.5 during the regular season, 13-8 in the previous 4 games. Game 1,
just 9 points.
Pippen's ankle, by the way, is more serious than most people thought all year. He's going to have surgery in the offseason for his Achilles tendon and also for bone spurs on his heel. So Pippen playing in some pain.
He really is. But he hasn't complained at all.
Doherty isolated, no double team.
Well, what Brad is doing, you know, he's holding the ball there. He's kind of waiting for the double team to come. And Chicago has done a real good job of mixing it up. And you see, gets the offensive foul there. But what Brad really needs to do is go on to make his move. Not pat the ball around, wait for the double team to come, and then he has to force the shot as he did that time.
First personal on Brad Doherty. We remain tied at 8 with 7:22 to go in the quarter.
Brad likes to come back across the middle with that little hook, but he knows the help is coming from that direction, so they're forcing him to the baseline.
Nice pass into Horace Grant to his left hand. Chicago with 6 points off turnovers already in this game. Mark Price with the penetration.
Nice. That's the importance of having Mark Price handle the ball right there. His ability to get into the painted area and create shots for his teammates.
That's the 3rd assist for Mark Price. He had only 3 in the entire game on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think he needs to be up around 11 or 12 assists in this game if Cleveland has a chance to win.
They took the ball out of Jordan's hand. Armstrong missed. And Horace Grant on the sore ankle leads all scorers. He has 6 points, has yet to miss.
Always a problem for Cleveland. Grant around the offensive boards.
And Lonnie Wilkins and the Cavaliers get a timeout. Bulls 12, Cavs 10. Michael Jordan has not scored yet. Brad Doherty had only 8 shots in game number 1. We talked to him before this game to ask him about that and what he intends to do about it tonight.
I never worry about shots or scoring a lot of points. 8 shots I don't think is enough shots for me, but the thing that I have to do is just be patient I was getting good block position and doing the things like that well, but their pressure was so great on us early in the basketball game that our guards were having a tough time just getting the ball into the front court.
So we saw Brad Daugherty take his time on the single team on him with Cartwright. He was called for the offensive foul. He's 0 for 2 so far here tonight. And the way Daugherty and Price go is the way the Cavaliers go.
Well, you'll see Brad as he catches the ball. He'll look over his shoulder. He's kind of looking, waiting for the double team to come. And to this point, Chicago has not used the double team.
So neither Price nor Daugherty have scored yet. The only two who haven't scored for Cleveland. 10 on the shot clock for the Bulls. Grant against Daugherty. Horace Grant is 4 for 4. He has 8 points.
Well, I tell you what, sometimes you have a guy injured, and that is enough incentive for him to come out and play, and you'll see career-type performances. Now, Grant has a long way to go, but he's off to a great start here playing with that pain.
B.J. Armstrong really denying the ball, and here's Cleveland getting into their offense again with 10 on the shot clock. Now, that's Daugherty in the paint.
That's the move right there. Didn't wait. He caught it. He went on, made the quick decision to take the shot, and he'll have to do that more. Get into his offense quicker.
Brad's first points of this game. Defensing Cartwright from the baseline. Top shot by Bill Cartwright, who has 4. He's 2 for 2.
Tell you what, I haven't seen Bill move as well as he moved in game 1 of this series. Didn't score a lot of points, but boy, he was really moving. He was up and down the floor. He was working the boards well, and here they're going to him early, and he scored 2 buckets.
That foul called on Bill Cartwright. 2 team fouls against the Cavs. That was the first foul against the Chicago Bulls.
Now that's the way the big man is supposed to step out and force the guard away from the basket. Good job by Cartwright.
Price with the penetration. What a move. Doesn't go down. Cartwright outlooks to Pippen. 3 rebounds for Cartwright. Armstrong for 3. 19-12 Chicago. 4:58 in the first quarter.
Price stayed back, complained about not getting the call as he took the ball to the basket, and we'll see which way they call this one. They're going to call it on B.J. Armstrong first, and he and Mark Price having words right now.
B.J. living inside the jersey of Mark Price. They both look like they should still be in high school.
Yeah, you're right.
To be as tough as they are in the NBA, a couple of kids. Now Gerald Wilkins has checked in for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Gerald Wilkins, named by Michael Jordan, the Jordan stopper.
Yeah, Wilkins said he did not say that. Those words came from the mouth of Michael Jordan. I thought it's interesting in reading what Michael had to say about that. He said in this phase of his career, he needs everything he can to get motivated, and he used Wilkins' words as motivation.
Wilkins and Elo double Jordan. Jordan hits Pippen for the jam. It's an 11-2 Chicago run. They lead it by 9. Timeout, Cavaliers.
Now, you have to realize here what Michael Jordan is doing. Now, he said after game 1, he did not want to have to carry the whole load. He said he would rather have the other guys involved. Now, you think right here he couldn't go on to the hole? Of course he could. But he found Pippen and got Pippen the high percentage shot. He understands the importance of having that guy involved in the offense. Here's another look at it. Game 1, he was pulling up, taking that jump shot right there. Now he's trying to get other people involved, makes the nice pass.
You know, you think it sounds like a cliche to say Michael Jordan can do what he wants when he wants to. Game number 1, he wanted to score. Look at this one. No points, but 4 assists.
Yeah. He is able to do it. And, you have to struggle as an analyst to find the words to describe this guy, because every time you see him, it seems he gets better. So he's definitely on doing what he wants to do in this game, making sure everyone else is involved.
Mark Price from 18. Did that get rattled in? They're going to call it good, or was it tipped?
I think it was good, and I think the reason it was not called is because both Jordan and Elo was up there around the basket.
So Mark Price, that's his first 2 points of the night. Under 4 minutes to go, first quarter. Got a mismatch here somewhere.
Yeah, Bill Cartwright's open. Oh, but look at Grant. Look at Grant. And the reason,
5 for 5.
Now, the reason why he continues to be open under the basket is because Nance is the help guy. Nance always goes for the block, and that leaves his man open to get to the basket. The rotation has to be there better for Cleveland on the weak side.
Elo for 3. That'll get you back in it. Elo did not hit a 3-point shot the other night. 23-17 Bulls. Nance, nice defensive play. It's 3-on-2. Gerald Wilkins for 3. Nance with the offensive board, back up strong.
Nice job, Larry Nance. I tell you what, if his guy's going to get to the offensive boards on one end, Nance is going to have to work the offensive boards on the other. He has 2 putbacks already in this game.
Phil Jackson doesn't like that Cavalier run as they jump back in this game. They were trailing by 9. They've cut the lead to 4. We have 2:58 to go in the first quarter. Timeout, Chicago.
Horace Grant has been able to get to the offensive boards a couple times in this game. Now we're going to roll this just a little bit. You'll see Grant down guarding, Nance guarding Grant. Now hold it right there. Now watch as Bill Cartwright steps out here to the ball. He'll get it here. Grant's going to be caught kind of in the, Nance will be caught in the middle. Now roll it just a little bit here, and you'll watch Nance. He's going to be the help guy. He always is. He's going to go this way, and then that's going to give Grant an opportunity to go right here, and he'll be open for the offensive rebound. Now watch him. That's good board work, but Nance is always the guy that has to go out and help out.
And Michael Jordan gets his first bucket of the night. The entire Bulls team was 11 of 13 for field goals. Jordan was 0 for 2 until that shot. 25-19 Chicago. Cleveland ball, 20 seconds on the shot clock.
You know, Cleveland hasn't run the pick and roll that they like to get Mark Price freed up yet in this game. They didn't use it much in game 1 either.
Brad Daugherty gets the rebound, and we've got the foul call against Bill Cartwright. That's his second personal foul. With 2:34 to go in the quarter, he got 2 quick fouls the other night. Stacey Keene came in and played one of the best playoff games of his career.
And had 9 points, and I thought he and Scott Williams off the bench for Chicago was a real key in their win.
Let's see if Stacey can do it again tonight. Price, the pull-up over B.J. Armstrong, and Mark has 4, and this is a 4-point game.
I think when Mark Price makes that shot right there, you might see him next time come down and go to the pick and roll.
Inside to King, turnover first time as he touched it, as he tried to pass it to Horace Grant. Looking to post up Daugherty. Nance can't get it to him, so he just takes it to the hoop. Beautiful shot by Nance. Nance has 8 points, has not missed tonight. Pippen back quickly, offensive foul as he knocks Greg Elo down off the baseline.
Scottie Pippen.
Chance for Cavaliers to tie this game.
John Williams in the lineup for the Cavaliers, replacing Brad Daugherty.
Hot Rod Williams into the ball game for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Place of Daugherty. They lob it into Williams. We got a hold on Horace Grant as he tries to get inside. That'll stop the play. And that'll be the fourth team foul on the Bulls.
Already in this game, the spacing for Cleveland on the offensive end of the floor has been much better than they got throughout the entire game. Game 1. Now, what they have done is they have spread the floor. They have taken away all opportunities to double team from the weak side. They've taken that out, and they're getting more one-on-one matchups.
John Williams, hard drive, he's fouled, and that'll put, he was shooting anyway, but that'll put the Bulls into the penalty. That's the first on Stacey King. Williams struggled from the free throw line in game number 1 also. John Williams was only 2 of 5 from the free throw line. Cleveland led the NBA in free throw shooting in the regular season. Armstrong out and John Paxson in for Chicago. It's tied at 25. To go in the quarter. Scott Williams in for Chicago, looking for Michael Jordan, shooting over Wilkins. Not this time. Rebound, Hot Rod Williams. Michael Jordan is 1 for 4 from the field, has only 2 points, but he does have 4 assists. Mark Price on the cut. Elo, fake the three. Shot clock to 6. Williams.
You give that up to him all night. You'd much rather have him out there shooting that shot instead of working around the basket.
Jordan with the pass to Pippen. 5 assists for Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen has 6 points. Pippen had only 9 in the entire game on Tuesday night. Bulls by 2, 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Pippen hasn't missed here, almost steals it. Wilkins lost the handle. Look out!
The problem that you sometimes get into when playing against Michael Jordan, you want to try to match his efforts. So Wilkins, instead of moving the ball as Cleveland has done so well, trying to create things on his own, and a lot of times it forces turnovers.
10 seconds in the quarter. Nance with the double team to Elo. Missed the three. Scott Williams. 2 seconds left. Williams just threw it up. He had Jordan on the wing. Of course, it's 29-25 Bulls. At the end of the first quarter, they're on their feet at Chicago Stadium. Well, the Bulls lead at 29-25. Remember that old commercial, you can pay me now or you can pay me later? Well, it's you can have Michael pay you or you can have everybody else pay you. That's what's happening here tonight.
You kind of get that feeling. Michael Jordan wanted to get everyone else involved. He gets the ball down to Pippen. He knows Pippen has to score more than 9 points, which he scored in game 1. Michael Jordan, 43 points in that game. The other starters just 27. It's just about the reverse in this one as Michael's slow on offense as far as points are concerned, but he does have 5 assists.
Chicago also 9 points off the break. Cleveland only 3. So the Bulls have that running game going. Cleveland now offering some full court pressure.
Line up here on the floor. Cleveland really does not play with a whole lot as they have Terrell Brandon and Mark Price on the floor at the same time. So that eliminates a lot of the bad press they got from Mark Price not being in the game down the stretch.
And Stacey King took the ball directly to the basket to the delight of his coach and this crowd. Trent Tucker on the floor right now for Chicago.
Now here comes the pick and roll. That usually creates a shot for someone. It did not that time as Nance faded to the corner instead of towards the basket.
10 seconds to shoot for the Cavaliers. Wilkins is going to penetrate.
Now that's the way Gerald Wilkins needs to get his shots. Off of screens, off of movement, instead of trying to create off the dribble. That just gets the rest of the offense out of sync when he does that.
Scott Williams and Jordan playing the two-man game. Jordan missing from the perimeter. Rod Williams couldn't hold it. It'll be Chicago ball.
I tell you what, Stacey King and Williams gave Chicago in the first game off the bench I thought was just as important to the win as Michael Jordan getting 43 points. We've already told you the rest of the starters for Chicago gave almost nothing in that game. If it were not for the bench play in game 1, Cleveland probably would have won that game.
There's a beautiful one-touch off the triangle, except Michael couldn't hold it. That was Stacey King at the high post. 31-27 Bulls, 10:51 to go in the first half, and Terrell Brandon and Mark Price are in the backcourt along with Wilkins, Williams, and Nance up front. Off the curl.
Nice use of screen. Nice use of the screen by Price. Brought both defensive players with him. Larry Nance was wide open.
And Larry Nance is 5 out of 5. He has 10 points. Horace Grant came in and got 10 points, going 5 out of 5 in the first quarter. He's on the bench now. He's playing with that sore ankle tonight. Tucker into Stacey King. Powers past Williams. Draws the foul. Stacey King's got that good low post game.
Well, you know, this guy has a lot of talent. He hasn't had a lot of playing time. He's been in bad favor with the coaching staff as well as the fans here in Chicago for a number of years. Always rumored to be on the trading block, but he has proven more than once he has talent and can help this team.
A lot of the fans call the Phil Jackson substitution pattern the sub de jour, meaning that you can get a lot of points off the bench one game, you may not even play because the next game because Phil coaches from the seat of his pants. He just goes with what he feels.
Yeah, but you know, if your starters are playing, and that is even more true this time of year, if they're producing for you, you just don't have to go to the bench as much. Usually the rotation is narrowed very much this time of year anyway. You want your starters on the floor most of the time.
Terrell Brandon, 2 ball handlers on the floor in an attempt to beat that Chicago trap. 10 seconds on the clock. Wilkins losing the handle.
See, there's Wilkins trying to create off the dribble instead of getting something out of the floor of the offense.
Tucker to Scott Williams. He sees an opening in the paint. The interior pass ends up in the hands of Williams. His first basket of the night.
And I don't know if Michael will get an assist on that, but he tipped it right to Williams as if he knew exactly what he was doing. Probably won't get an assist.
Mark Price quickly on the drive draws the foul. We've got a timeout on the floor now with the Bulls leading it by 5, 9:41 to go in the first quarter. Now there's that tip.
Yeah, there's Michael tipping it right to Williams. He's right there and gets the dunk.
And for the heads-up play and the hustle that he and Stacey King is giving
this team. Will Perdue, you see him with his back to you right there. The guy that's going to be the odd man out. Will got in for 5 minutes in game 1. Really didn't give Chicago anything. Had just 1 turnover in those 5 minutes. Normally he would be the first guy off the bench to replace Bill Cartwright. He will not play probably in this game because of the game that Stacey King and Scott Williams gave him in game 1.
Michael Jordan gets a rest. Michael has 4 points and 6 assists with 9:41 to go in the first half. It's Trent Tucker and Armstrong along with Stacey King, Pippen, and Scott Williams on the floor for the Bulls. As Mark Price goes to the free throw line, you can just about put that money in the bank. He's only missed 1 free throw during the playoffs thus far. Look at his assists tonight, 5, had only 3 in game 1. And he has about 11 assists a game when Cleveland beats Chicago.
Yeah, I think we really need to keep watching that stat right there because I think Mark Price needs to be in double figures assists if Cleveland's going to win here tonight. That means he's getting everyone involved and doing his job very well.
10 to shoot for the Bulls. Now 5. Nice pass from Armstrong. Williams couldn't get it to go. Doherty comes away with a loose ball and makes a bad pass.
Yeah, I'm watching Brad Doherty, and I just see him guessing and very confused to this point as to what he wants to do in this game.
Pippen. Turnaround hook doesn't go. Williams knocks it out of bounds. Cleveland can't hold on to the ball.
Normally with Michael Jordan on the bench and Scottie Pippen on the floor, this is the time that Scottie really picks it up offensively and does his thing. He didn't in game 1. He has not to this point, but I still look for Chicago to go to him a whole lot more with Michael out of the game.
Price now getting a rest, and Terrell Brandon will be at the point and defend B.J. Armstrong for the Cavaliers. Bulls up by 3. Scott Williams took it away. It was punched away by Wilkins. And the Bulls will start it all over again. Without Jordan, the Bulls often without a go-to guy on the floor.
Well, Pippen has to be the guy. I mean, it has to be him. Nice block.
To Tucker, who missed the 3, but look at the offensive rebound.
That's it. Pippen, he has to be the guy right now. It's up to him with Jordan on the bench.
Bulls by 5. 10 to shoot now. Williams, they need the offense out of that man. Not going to happen this time. Wilkins had to take that shot because the shot clock was down to 2. It did not hit the iron. Thus, the buzzer goes off. A violation. Chicago ball on the side.
And once again, and this happened in game 1, you look at the lineup on the floor for Chicago right now, and you understand that Brad Doherty is in there working against the second-string post guy, and you just have to have Brad Doherty touching the ball. He really didn't touch it a whole lot in this matchup. I think he should be able to score against Stacey King. He's not working to get position as aggressively as he needs to.
Wilkins goes to the bench, and Craig Elo comes out. Gerald Wilkins only 2 points. Stacey King's little short jump hook doesn't go. Bulls lead it by 5.
Now let's see if they get Brad Doherty involved right here.
Yes, they do. Got the mismatch. However, Stacey King was there. The Bulls have about 3 guys offering instructions out there with Michael's on the floor.
Instead of one guy stepping up and doing it. And that's what Michael does when he's in there.
3 to shoot. B.J. Armstrong can't get it. Elo with the rebound. Brandon out on his left wing. Doherty, look at him run the floor. He's fouled by Scott Williams. Credit Doherty with a great job of getting down there and establishing position.
He did a real good job of filling the lane, getting that position as the shot came from the other side.
Bulls by 5 with 6:55 to go in the first half.
Cleveland here will run a play for Brad Doherty. He hasn't touched the ball a whole lot since coming back in. The problem here, as he makes the move to the basket, he gets the defense up in the air, and instead of jumping in and making sure there's enough contact to force Jack Madden to call the foul, he kind of stayed away from it and did not get the contact. Here Brad does a great job running the floor, and you'll see the foul coming as he had good position, Scott Williams over the back.
And Cleveland inbounds from the sideline. 2 team fouls on the Bulls, 1 on the Cavs with 6:43. Another Cleveland turnover.
And the spacing
That's
that
9.
time, spacing that time was not good.
B.J. Armstrong for 3. An 8-point Bulls lead.
No.
Cleveland out of control. Jordan back on the floor.
Yeah, Cleveland had their opportunity when Michael over there on the bench. They did not recapture their poise and recapture the tempo of this game, and now they find themselves down by 10.
Lenny Wilkins upset. He calls timeout.
Coming right up after this game, we'll have the Spurs and Suns. Gary Becker, Hubie Brown in Phoenix to bring you game 2 of that series. Phoenix up 1-0. Mark Price went to the bench. Brandon went in at point guard. Since then, Cleveland Chicago on a 7-0 run.
Well, they had both guards in there, Brandon and Price, for a long time. Price needed a breather, and Cleveland has yet to get in their offense to get a high percentage shot since Price left the game.
Here's Doherty again taking his time down in the post. He finds the open man. Williams to Sanders. Rebound King.
Good rotation on the weak side by Chicago. Someone ran it. Sanders forced him to take the quick shot.
Michael Jordan with only 6 points in this game to go with 6 assists. Pippen, 19 feet. Scottie Pippen. And the Bulls are on a 9-0 run. Cleveland cannot buy a field goal. They get this one. Nice pass from Brandon to Elo.
Well, good use of the screen. Brad Doherty set the nice pick out high, which freed up Elo going to the basket.
Going to have a massive substitution in a moment. Price, Ferry, and Nance are coming into the game shortly for the Cavaliers. Pippen couldn't hold on to the ball. Elo can. It's 3-on-1.
Got to score here, yeah.
And the Cavs coming back in this now. 43-35 Chicago with 4:57 to go in the first half. B.J. Armstrong loves the corner.
Still think Cleveland needs to get the ball to Brad Doherty working against Stacey King. They have to start exploiting that. They have to start exploiting that matchup.
11 turnovers for the Cavaliers. Williams, Sanders, and Brandon go to the bench, and Ferry, Price, and Nance are on the floor. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Jack Gibbons and I will be selecting the Budweiser player of the game. Bulls by 10, 4.5 to go first half.
Cleveland, the second fewest turnovers. Now that's a better job with the double team. Much better job with the double team, forcing Michael to give it up there. Almost Elo came up with a nice play there.
And the foul on Craig Elo. That'll be his first. And team foul situations, 2 for the Bulls and 2 for the Cavs with 4:22 to go in the half. Stacey King off the feet of Grant. Ferry takes him down. Pippen off the glass. And Pippen has 12 points. He had only 9 in game number 1 all game long. Scottie is 6 for 7 from the floor.
Took just 10 shots in game 1, made 4.
Nice pass inside to Doherty from Larry Nance.
Did you see how he cleared Stacey King out, though? I mean, the established position down there would not allow Stacey King to come around, and I think that's a matchup that Cleveland can take advantage of. They didn't in game 1. They haven't to this point except that time in this game.
Pippen guarded by Ferry. Elo on Jordan. 8 seconds to shoot. How many moves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grant tips it to King. Horace Grant with a beautiful play.
He worked so hard on the offensive boards. I mean, he is number 3, number 4, and sometimes number 5 option in their half-court offense. If he's going to get anything, he has to work the offensive boards. And look at that defense.
Timeout, Cleveland. Craig Elo also jammed his elbow on the floor. He got a little sting on that. Larry Nance gave him the ball, and Craig Elo said, "Don't give that thing to me out here."
You know, Bob, I've talked about Brad Doherty working against Stacey King on the inside and how this matchup should favor Cleveland. Look how Brad Doherty just gets position and holds Stacey King off. Now, it takes a good pass, but still Brad Doherty aggressively pursued that post-up position. He held off Stacey King and got the high percentage shot.
He's a 5-time All-Star. You got to use Brad Doherty if you're going to win the ball game. Look at the difference in rebounding here tonight. The Bulls out-rebounding the Cavs almost exactly the same as game 1. It's just almost the same mathematically there. You see that Cleveland needs to rebound well to win, but that's, of course, the case with virtually everybody. Bulls by 12, biggest lead of the game. 3:09 to go in the first half. Once again, it's been the Chicago defense that's the star of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Brad. 6 to shoot. 4.
This is where it was.
2.
Low percentage shot.
Out of bounds, Chicago ball. Cleveland not able to solve the incredibly effective Bulls half-court defense.
And Lenny Wilkins working the officials here, trying to get his team to play with that kind of intensity.
Jordan. That went off of Larry Nance. Oh, Doherty missed the layup.
And you know they're going to score. I mean, you just know that's going to happen. I mean, it seems every time you blow an easy one, that gives the fast break opportunity back the other way, because just as they had the numbers going one way, it gives the other team the numbers coming back. Now, I don't know, maybe Craig Elo should have had the pass from Mark Price anyway. You don't see Elo, but he was further out than Brad Doherty as it was, and he just fumbles it away. That starts the fast break going the other way, and Chicago makes the high percentage shots on the other end.
And Ferry defense right out of bounds. It's Cleveland ball with 18 to shoot. Wilkins with the lay-in. Gerald comes back on the floor. It was 1917 Cleveland when Wilkins left. Wilkins out the game 34 to 18 Cleveland, Chicago. So they need him on the floor. 51-39, Bulls leading right now. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Coming up at halftime, the Reebok halftime report, Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studios with Nets coach Chuck Daly and Charles Barkley and Hubie Brown. That's always an interesting interview. We have to have an interpreter when those two talk. Also, the NBA announces the winner of the Six-Man Award. Who do you think?
I think Cliff Robinson at Portland. You know, Michael Jordan.
Have you looked?
I have not, but that's who I voted for. Michael Jordan took the ball to the basket that time. That's the first time he has been hit taking the ball to the hole. Now, he got to the free throw line, made 1 or 2, but still, that's one of the few times he's been caught taking the ball to the hole.
And this time, Stacey King fouls Brad Doherty. That's 2 on Stacey King. Bulls have held the Cavaliers to only 39 points with 1:40 to go in the half, and Will Perdue is going to check into the ball game for
Chicago. Stacey King will probably undoubtedly come out of the game.
Yeah, this is a good time for Will Perdue to come in and redeem himself and show that he can play against Cleveland here. He usually does not play all that well against Cleveland. He'll get a minute 40 seconds here, try to make something positive happen for Chicago. Stacey King, though, once again played very well, gave him good minutes.
Brad Daugherty only 2 for 7, and one of those misses was the fumbled layup on the fast break. This is the free throw. Price. It belongs to Chicago. In Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals last year, Cleveland came back and shocked the Bulls in a game I televised by 26 points. The Bulls talked about not having that happen here tonight. So far, they aren't having it happen.
Yeah, the way Cleveland did that, there you go, Will.
Perdue with the assist to Michael Jordan.
Positives is what Will Perdue is looking for. That's a positive right there.
Mark Price has it tipped out of bounds by Chicago.
Yeah, Cleveland held Chicago to 14% in the first period in that game you referred to last year at this time, Bob, that Cleveland won.
Nance off balance. Everything Cleveland takes is a contested shot.
Yep.
Under a minute to go, first half. Call on Perdue for getting that knee in the back of the leg of Brad Daugherty.
Will Perdue.
Perdue needs to get Jack Madden that song R-E-S-P-E-C-T by Aretha.
Will Perdue is gonna take him
a while,
at least a couple more years,
maybe a decade. And Daugherty goes to the free throw line. Brad has 6 points tonight. Michael has 11 points to go with his 6 assists. Bulls by 12. Perdue gets Nance in the air. He'll go to the free throw line.
Personal foul, Larry Nance, his third.
It'll be a 2-shot foul. Will Perdue only a 60% free throw shooter. Nance, by the way, with 3 personals.
Yeah, they really need Nance on the floor here. He picks up his third. The problem with Larry Nance going to the floor, he's a good defensive player, and of course he works the offensive board so well. When you're struggling, you need a guy like Nance on the floor for you. He'll make good things happen. He's going to have to sit the rest of this second period.
Perdue hits the free throw. That's another opportunity. Nance goes out with 39 seconds to go in the half. 5 of 7 from the floor, 10 points. Elo for 3. Brick.
They're having to let it go quickly. Bob, you mentioned not a shot by Cleveland going up uncontested. They're letting it go very, very quickly, understanding that the defense is coming.
Cleveland 1 for 6 from three-point land. 5 seconds on the shot clock. 3. Jordan over Wilkins. 13 for Michael. Cleveland cannot get a shot off, and the Bulls lead it by 15 points at the halftime, holding the Cavaliers to only 42 points. Michael Jordan, 13 points, 6 assists. Grant, 10 points in the first quarter. Pippen has 12 for the Bulls.
The Reebok Halftime Report is brought to you by Reebok, to remind you that on Planet Reebok, there are no rules.
24 minutes down and 24 to go at Chicago Stadium, and those first 24 pretty painful for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Chicago out to a 15-point lead. Chuck Daly joins me here, Ernie Johnson, for the Reebok Halftime Report. Now we got everybody straight. Cleveland needs to get straight, man, because the Bulls are really laying it to them.
Well, they're turning the ball over. They're really struggling to score. And that's one of the problems you have against Chicago. They're such a great defensive club. Everybody talks about the great offensive stars, but defensively, wow.
You've said that Game 2 is the one you want to steal, but I don't know if the Cavs are going to swipe this one.
I don't like their chances in this particular game at this point. It's a very, and Michael's kind of passive.
Yeah, he certainly is. Let's take a look at the telestrator here. You can show us what he's doing in the first half, kind of content to let some other guys do it.
Yeah, he got into it kind of slowly, and here we see him. He gets the ball. The ball is swung to him right here. Now he gets him off balance, and he makes his penetration, forces help, and then he dumps the ball over. He dumps the ball over here, right here, and here we go. Bang, and we got a big 2.
Getting used to the machinery here. Now let's take a look at Brad Daugherty and what's been going on here. Single coverage by Bill Cartwright.
Yeah, Bill Cartwright staying home, and we've got that situation right here. You'll see where they start moving back, and these guys are going to stay in their shell here. He's staying home here, and then they don't leave. They're staying home. They're giving no one else a shot. He decides to make his move. He keeps going. Watch, and then what else but bang, offensive foul, and there's the call.
Bill Cartwright has been there before, ladies and gentlemen, drawing the offensive from Brad Daugherty. It is a 57-42 game at the break. Game 2 of our doubleheader, you're going to have the Phoenix Suns and the San Antonio Spurs. When we come back, a meeting of the NBA minds. Sir Charles with Sir Hubie. Don't touch that dial. The Bulls by a bunch, 57-42 over the Cavs at the half as the Reebok halftime report continues. You've done a lot in your coaching career, won championships, even got to coach Charles Barkley on the Dream Team. Can you sum that up in 700 words or less?
Well, when he was named to the club, I said, he will start the Third World War in Spain.
Almost.
I literally thought that. As it turned out, he was terrific. Not only a great player, he would come around before the game, shake hands with the coaches. He was as focused game time as anybody we had.
He's focused right now, too. The Suns are up 1-0 in their series over the San Antonio Spurs. Game 2 coming your way later tonight here on TNT. Earlier today, Hubie Brown had a chance to sit down and talk to Sir Charles.
After the game, Game 1, 20 minutes, you're shooting in the practice gym. Is this the most pressure that Charles Barkley has ever had on him to perform like a superstar?
I think so. I think, number one, the expectations of our team and expectations of everybody around us definitely puts an added burden on you mentally, no question.
Yeah, but what about yourself, your inner self? For the first time, you usually shoot 57% for the career. You're fourth leading in the history of this game. For Charles Barkley, 82 games. We're going to win the championship. I was brought here to win the championship. How is it affecting you?
Well, I think if I said I wasn't feeling some pressure, I would be lying because, you know, we're in a situation where if we don't win the championship, no matter what we accomplish with the best record or whatever, people are going to consider that a bad year. So there's definitely, and this might be the only, you don't know what the future holds, but this is the only chance you got right now to win it. So there's some pressure, I will admit that.
Will we see tonight the real Phoenix Suns? Will they show up tonight?
I think that we have been gradually getting better. I think the first series, everybody was tight as a drum, no question, and it showed in our performance. But I think the last game was the first time we really got in the flow offensively running the ball. We got a little lackadaisical there when we got the big lead, but we finally, I think, building our momentum of where we wanted.
Well, for me as an observer, and you as a player, my observations might be different. But can the Phoenix Suns beat you guys?
Can the Phoenix Suns beat us?
I mean, no. Can the San Antonio Spurs beat you guys?
I would be very disappointed if we lost to the San Antonio Spurs because I feel like we definitely have a better team. They can't guard KJ. I feel like David has given me trouble at times, but I think because Kevin, they can't stop Kevin, I don't expect them to beat us.
Charles Barkley's numbers in the playoffs, 26 points, 13.7 rebounds, 44% from the field and 4 assists. Not bad. He didn't have a very good game 1. He was kind of off, but Do you agree with him that San Antonio cannot beat Phoenix in this series?
Oh, they can beat them, but I sense that the team that has the best record every year is the team that is basically the most dangerous to win a championship. I liken that to baseball and football. You go back and check it out, and you'll see that it's a problem. So, but I think Phoenix is going to win.
He talked about Kevin Johnson, Charles did, and the fact that San Antonio is having trouble with him. Is that the key? What do you do now if you're John Lucas?
Well, you've got to get him under control a little bit, because he's getting in at all dangerous times. He's getting in the lane, penetrating, dishing off, and he's become the designated double teamer. He's leaving their point guard alone. They're swinging the ball to this guy. He's going to have to make shots with Avery Johnson or DeNegro.
And the feeling being those guys can't hurt you from out there, and so KJ is able to slacken off.
Exactly.
So we'll see Game 2 of our doubleheader later tonight. San Antonio trying to even the series with Phoenix. That's Game 2 of our doubleheader coming up later tonight on TNT. Welcome back to the Reebok Halftime Report. The NBA's postseason awards ceremonies continuing. Who's the best sixth man in the league? I don't think there was any question this year. It comes from the Portland Trail Blazers. Cliff Robinson named the Miller Genuine Draft sixth man, as Mickey Davis of Miller Brewing Company presented the award today. About 20 points a game off the pines by Mr. Robinson. 6.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Had a lot of minutes, too, Chuck Daly. This guy, for a sixth man, played a lot.
The second most minutes on the club. That award has got to be reevaluated.
We'll see what happens next season on that. Let's talk about the second half of our game right here. The Chicago Bulls up 57-42. Now, what's Lenny Wilkins do? Is he airing this place out at Chicago Stadium?
He's got to be into them pretty good. I mean, he's got to have some halftime speech to get them going. They are just not playing aggressive offensively, and I think Price got to get his motor going, and they got to get the ball in Doherty's hands quicker and make something happen. They're playing into a defensive team's tempo in their own building.
And the thing about Michael Jordan, you pointed it out, was we watched in the first half. It's like he's not challenged, like he doesn't really need to turn it up right now.
No, there's no challenge here tonight. He came in the first game, took over the first game, but so far tonight he hasn't felt that need. He may before the night's over.
Cleveland's going to have to make a heck of a comeback to do that. It is 57-42. The Bulls trying to take a 2-love advantage in the Eastern Conference Semifinals. The third period just ahead from Chicago Stadium.
Reebok Halftime Report has been brought to you by Reebok, who reminds you that on Planet Reebok, there are no limits.
Well, the Chicago Bulls having their way with Cleveland, 57-42 here. In game number 1, Michael Jordan came in with a mission, scores 43 points. In this game, he came in and kind of put it on cruise control, decided not to score in the first 9 minutes, 13 seconds, and dish out instead 6 assists. Then in the next 14 minutes, he gets 13 points, and it looks as though Chicago can do almost anything they choose with this Cleveland team.
Well, they've been forcing the tempo right now. I mean, they're doing everything defensively they've wanted to do. They're making sure Michael is that he keeps everyone else involved. He said after game 1 he would do that. Funny how that works. And he's been able to just pretty much do what he wants. When they've needed points from him, he's been able to do it. They've gotten good play off the bench as Chicago. Stacey King now has put together back-to-back good games here for Chicago. They've needed that, of course, and here are some numbers you can look at as Chicago, as we mentioned, been able to do pretty much what they've wanted to.
Bulls shooting 60%, Cavs 45%, and the Cavs, when they're outshot, they have a 9-18 record, and that leans not only to their shooting percentage, but the fact that they are not a good offensive rebounding club. This is the biggest lead in the ball game right now of 15 points, 57-42, and Brad Doherty once again not really a major impact.
Well, he has to just become more aggressive, Bob. I think, you look at a guy and you see after game 1 he gets just 8 shots, and you look, yes, at the offense because they might not have been going to him enough, but he's not going to get shots if he doesn't prove to the rest of the guys that he wants it down there. And then once he gets it, make the quick, aggressive moves to the basket and either get the good shots or get to the free throw line. Once again, his shots are down, just 7. He had 8 in game 1.
Mark Price, 6 points, 6 assists in the first half. Chicago led only 34-31 when Cleveland took Price out of the ball game.
And then Chicago outscored Cleveland 9-0 over the next 4 minutes. So Price needs to be on the floor for the Cavaliers if you look at the statistics. And Michael Jordan came out and said, you want me to dish it to the other guys? Okay. You want me to score it? Okay. 57-42 Chicago. They're up 1-0 in this Eastern Conference Semifinal series.
It's also been good for Chicago that Pippen has become more involved in everything.
Sanders with the rebound. Mark Price thought he had a steal a moment ago, broke down to get the pass. None of his teammates saw it.
See, now you have Nance working against Michael. Now he has to be aggressively pursuing. That's a mismatch that he should be able to score on. Instead, the ball goes the other way, and look at the shot they get.
Mike Sanders, not known for his perimeter game, misses the jumper. Pippen to Horace Grant. He's fouled hard by Larry Nance. Grant was questionable as to whether or not he would even play in this game. He came up at the beginning of the ball game and scored 10 points in the first quarter, and Larry Nance has just picked up his 4th foul.
And Lenny has a real dilemma on his hands right now. I think he knows he needs Larry Nance in there. Larry Nance goes to the bench, and Chicago widens this lead, and it might be a lights out very quickly for Cleveland. He might leave him in there and just allow him to play.
Jack Madden and Lenny Wilkins having the discussion on the sideline right now.
You know, Cleveland can get back in this game. I think what they need is more quick-hitting stuff. I remember one play in particular where Craig Elo got the screen out high from Brad Daugherty, made the cut to the basket, got the easy layup, and it's just not been many easy ones for Cleveland so far in this game. And once again, that aggressive Chicago defense forces Cleveland to call a timeout. Great double teams coming. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen coming at you. I mean, that makes you want to give it up. Now watch right here as Price gets it up. Jordan, good foot movement. And then he chases him right into Scottie Pippen. Well, yes, you're going to call a timeout here if you can even do that. Price does it right before he falls out of bounds. Well, that's one reason Michael, in addition to everything else, is always on the all-defensive team. You saw the body movement there, would not let Price, as quick as Price is, get around him, forced him into the double team, and they had to call the timeout.
11:01 to go in the third quarter, 59-42 Chicago. Cleveland with 17 seconds on the shot clock. Brad Daugherty, 7 points in this game. He does have 6 rebounds. Once again, nobody to go to with the pass. The shot clock is down to 7 seconds.
And there's Michael again, cutting off the baseline.
Now 5. With 2 seconds left, Nance misses. Jordan has it knocked out of bounds by Mike Sanders. It's Chicago ball. You know, everybody thought, including me, that Chicago had a tougher road to the Eastern Conference Finals than did New York. Chicago opens up with Atlanta, then Cleveland. Both of them played them well during the regular season. And it looks as though Chicago's having a cakewalk so far. They're undefeated in the playoffs and are looking the same here tonight.
Well, you play this kind of defense, and then you get what I see as a less than aggressive effort from Cleveland, and it's going to be easy.
Cleveland has not scored in this quarter. Chicago on an 8-0 run to build a 19-point lead. Foul on Horace Grant is second. Nobody really wants to take the shot for Cleveland. Larry Nance finally gets it in the paint and puts it down. The first basket of the third quarter for Cleveland. 61-44. Grant to Pippen. He's left all alone. Cleveland intensity not there tonight.
Well, I just don't see it. And you look at the faces right now, and you don't see a real aggressive look in their eyes. Price is going to have to get it going. Misses that one.
Jordan for 3. Pippen offensive board. Skips it back and he's fouled.
This Cleveland team appears to be sleepwalking here tonight.
Well,
particularly this quarter.
I'll tell you what I think it is. I think Cleveland is playing like a team that is already defeated by Chicago because, I mean, they have to be questioning whether or not they are capable of beating this team at this time of the year. And they're playing as though, hey, we're going to just give this to Chicago, wait till we get back to our building, and try to get some wins there. You just don't see the aggressive play that you have to have in this building. I mean, you have to match the kind of intensity that you've seen so far from Chicago.
Price looking for a shot. Gets the Nance pick and roll and shot.
No, but look, no uncontested shots at all.
Bulls by 20. Michael Jordan with a little more showtime.
This is not his night for that. I mean, this is not his night to take over. He is making sure everyone stays involved.
Look at the offensive board work by Horace Grant. What an effort by Grant. They're on their feet for the courageous effort from Horace Grant.
And well, they should be. And I think really this is for Grant, but it's for the whole Chicago defense. I mean, this is a guy that wasn't even going to play in this game, and that's the kind of effort they're getting from him.
Craig Elo gets one of the few uncontested shots. Sanders misses the steal attempt. Pippen, uncontested to the basket. Tip in, Jordan doesn't go. Doherty. Elo 1-on-3. Rebound Cartwright. He has Jordan out in front. Pippen down the middle. Michael Jordan has 15. Bulls by 20. Timeout, Cavaliers. It looks as though the Bulls aren't quite ready to get.
Oh, you're right. And if you're wondering why Chicago is up by 20 points right now, watch this effort. Now they're not going to score a basket here, but just watch Horace Grant work in the offensive boards, and then watch the effort to save it back in. I mean, they don't get it, but I think you see a whole bunch about how this game has gone in that effort, and then they do get the score here. Michael Jordan takes it to the hole. Nance with 4 fouls just has to back off. I don't know if he would have gotten that anyway.
Cleveland down by 20. 7:47 to go in the third quarter. Mark Price hits a big three. That cuts it to 17. Might remind everybody before we completely mail this in for Chicago that there's 7.5 to go in the third quarter and plenty of time for Cleveland to come back. I think the point you and I have been making is Cleveland to this point has shown no signs of that.
Well, I think the one sign that is loud and clear in this game to me, Chicago knows who their leader is. I mean, they know Michael Jordan is their leader. Cleveland right now looks to me as though they are a team struggling for someone to step up and take things into their own hands. Is it going to be Mark Price making the three-point shots and leading them offensively? Is it going to be Brad Doherty around the basket, getting physical and not allowing them to dictate how he's going to play? I don't know. Cleveland right now needs to find a leader, and they seem like they are struggling right now because of that.
It has historically been Mark Price, but again, when you have things happen such as more playing time for Terrell Brandon, the last 7 minutes of game number 1, Lenny Wilkens keeping the all-star point guard Mark Price on the bench and playing Brandon. That, of course, takes a little bit of confidence from Price and the team in him, and I agree with you. Brad Doherty is not a leader-type guy. It is Mark Price, whether they want it or like it or not.
It has to be. But I tell you one thing, when your leader plays like Michael Jordan, I'm not talking offensively, I'm talking about what he does defensively. That everyone has to play. You don't have a choice but to play as aggressively as he does on the defensive end of the floor. And I think that's what we're seeing out of Chicago.
Look at this Chicago defense. The double team with Grant and Jordan, the steal. B.J. Armstrong, Jordan, lay-in and the foul. What a sequence. The incredible, tenacious Chicago defense forcing the turnover. Then the quick break. The unselfish play. The Jordan lay-in and the foul. It is
the signature of this Chicago team.
Well, see, just the point I was making. Michael Jordan is the guy that came up with the steal, that ran across the court to double up and force that. And when he's given that kind of effort defensively, everyone else on the team can do nothing but one thing, and that is to match that kind of defensive intensity.
71-49, 6:42 to go in the quarter. They foul Craig Elo. It's B.J. Armstrong.
Now look at this. Michael Jordan is going to come over here, and watch, he's going to come up from behind, and look at the effort. I mean, he picks the pocket, gets the fast break going, and then he's going to end up with the basket. He's going to sprint and beat everyone down here. And he gets the foul.
And the lay-in, of course, 71-49. And this foul is on Bill Cartwright. It will be his third. Bulls have 3 team fouls. Cavs have committed 14 fouls this period. 6:36 to go. Nobody has an inch to do anything. B.J. Armstrong fouls Price going toward the hoop. For B.J. Armstrong, that's number 2. They're going to send Price to the line for 2. Both teams with 4 team fouls now.
B.J. Armstrong with a cut over there on the bench over his eye, and they are working on it to try to get him bandaged up here.
He bumped heads with Craig Elo about 2 plays back. Craig didn't bleed, and B.J. did. I don't know what the significance
well, now the officials are supposed to stop play right here. They're going to let him go on because they worked it out during the timeout. Got a bandage on it. It seems okay.
Good quick play by Chip Schaefer, the trainer for the Chicago Bulls. Even he's on top of his game tonight.
You'd have to search real hard and deep here to find a weak spot on this Chicago team.
Horace Grant from Cartwright goes to the left hand. Horace Grant has 16 points. He is flawless. 6 of 6 from the floor. Price finds Elo for 3. Rebound Nance. Stripped away by Pippen. There's that defense. It's 3-on-3. Michael Pippen reverse. Grant foul. The big 3. Jordan, Grant, Pippen combined for the bucket. They're on their feet in Chicago Stadium. A standing ovation for this Bulls basketball team. And they look invincible in this game tonight.
Michael Jordan seems to be in some pain also, and I think he's going to have to leave the game. I don't know exactly what happened and what part of his body is hurting, but you see him going out, grabbing that knee, possibly.
May have been hitting the solar plexus or somewhere else also.
You want to explain to me where the
somewhere else, I think, speaks for itself. And let's hope that's it. If that's the case, Michael will probably be back. Doherty misses the free throw. We have 5:28 to go in the third period in what must seem like an hour-long third period to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, looking at Jordan, he is in some pain over on the bench. We'll get a report on exactly what happened. He probably did get hit in the groin area. Now Cleveland with some full court pressure. To shoot for the Bulls. Pippen running the show now. To Grant. What a pass and catch. Pippen to Grant.
I mean, they are just picking the Cleveland defense apart.
Horace Grant is 8 for 8. He has not missed tonight.
But he's not taking a shot outside of tipping it in or taking it to the hole.
Good point. Elo tried to make a hook pass. Instead, he goes to the floor hard. Knocked out of bounds by Chicago. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
And they are screaming Horace. I think Horace is a little fatigued. He's going to get a breather here. Pointed to the bench.
Scott Williams about to come in. You're going to hear a real explosion from the crowd when that happens.
Look at that.
The 24-second clock elapsed. Cleveland could not get a shot off. Cartwright goes to the bench thinking he's coming out, but no, it's Horace Grant. Cartwright staying in. There's the round of applause for Horace Grant. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8 for 8 from the floor, 4 for 4 from the line. What a night. And they didn't even think he would play in this game because of the sprained ankle from game number 1. A 25-point Bulls lead. Cartwright fouled by Doherty. That'll be number 2 on Brad. Ferry and Hot Rod Williams in for the Cavaliers.
And Brad will take a seat. And they're still working on Michael over there.
Yeah, we still don't have a report, but we're trying to get something for you as to exactly what happened with Michael. Cartwright hits the free throw. Here's where we think it happened as we take a look at this replay. Watch for number 23 right at the free throw line coming into the paint here.
Yeah, he comes in to try to block the shot. Now, that's not a foul on Michael. That foul occurred before that. And there he is asking to come out. He's got some ice on that hand.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. I mean, that should have been an easy layup, and against most teams it would have. But there were 3 people for Chicago that went for that block.
Now Scottie Pippen is fouled as he drives to the hoop. Oh, these Bulls are on fire. Take a look at tonight's Chevrolet scoreboard. It is a scoreboard without a score because it tells you that our next game following this one will be the San Antonio Spurs at Phoenix. Phoenix leading in that series 1-0. Then tomorrow night, New York goes to Charlotte. Charlotte almost got the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, but a fantastic comeback. The rookie Hubert Davis with a big performance, and Patrick Ewing came up big in overtime for that win. And then after that, Seattle and Houston on Saturday night. I'll join Hubie Brown down in Houston for that. Seattle leading that series 2-0. A lot of people around the league are saying maybe Seattle will be the team to represent the West.
Well, I'm one of those that picked Seattle to come out of the West. I know the Beehive over there in Charlotte is going to be, well, they are going to be loud. 23,000 plus in there for that game tomorrow night.
Williams misses Pippen's rebound. That's 5 for Scottie. Pippen also has 16 points. Scott Williams battling for the offensive board. And we have learned now from the side that Michael Jordan has a sprained right wrist. That could be, we're not saying it is, that could be significant.
Yes. He seemed to be in a bunch of pain over there. Hopefully he'll be okay. Danny Ferry with the shot from the outside finally gets one uncontested and gets it to go.
When Michael left the court, he left the court all doubled over, looking as though he had been hit in the abdomen. But they have the ice on his right wrist. Let's hope, and the league hopes that his wrist is bionic as his ankle.
You know, I'll tell you what, they might not need need Michael Jordan anymore in this game, so don't be surprised if you don't see him. Terrell Brandon went down and is holding his ankle now. But Chicago getting to every loose ball, and they have converted about every opportunity, as you can imagine, as they lead this thing 84-54.
Michael Jordan with a sprained right wrist, and Terrell Brandon is being carried from the floor. You see that he injured his left ankle on that play. So the backup point guard, who'd been so important to Cleveland down the stretch, is being taken into the Cavaliers locker room. We're looking for a further report on Michael Jordan. I think, believe this or not, Goose, that Michael Jordan is going to come back in the game.
Does that surprise you?
Not at all.
It doesn't surprise me. They put the wrap on it over there, and he is back on the floor. So they're going to test it, see if he can go here. And boy, if it's anything like after he got hurt down in Atlanta in Game 3 of that series, I mean, there's no way Cleveland's going to win this game. There's no way he's going to get back in it at all.
Williams powers inside, gets the basket and the foul, and that's one of the few times we've seen an aggressive, hard-to-the-hoop move by the Cavaliers in this 1.5-game series.
Well, you know, that's been there for him. Every time Bill Cartwright goes to the bench, that should be matchups. Whether it's John Williams working against Stacey King, or whether it's Brad Warden working against Stacey King, that should be a matchup that Cleveland could exploit. They have not done that either game in this series.
18-point Bulls lead with 2:23 to go in the third quarter. Jordan playing with a taped right wrist. Terrell Brandon, backup point guard for Cleveland, carried off the floor, sprained left ankle. Tucker has been real cold from the outside in this series.
Has not shot the ball well at all.
2 minutes to go in the quarter. Williams spots an opening and takes it to the hoop. That cuts it to 16. So the Cavs cutting into this lead. The Bulls were up by as many as 25. And as we see often happen early in a ball game, a 20, 25, 30-point lead, a team, I don't care even if you're the Bulls, relaxes a bit.
Well, Price has been able to use the pick and roll out top, and he has been able to turn the corner and see the floor. Once he does that, he has found a couple people for open shots.
6 seconds to shoot for the Bulls. Jordan gets the double team, finds Paxson. On the drive, shot clock elapsed, but first Cleveland had the ball, so they'll let them play. Into Elo, defended by Jordan. He's popped in the face, and we'll get a foul on Scottie Williams. That's 3 on Williams. Let's see if Elo is all right.
Well, he gets a couple free throws here, so I anticipate that he will stay in the game for no other reason long enough to take these 2 free throws. But Elo is definitely a competitor.
If they say name the lake and he says Erie, they have to take him out of the game.
Have to take him out.
Let's hope he's all right. Okay, he was good enough to hit the free throw. Craig Elo, very, very tough, hard-nosed player who was picked up by the Cleveland Cavaliers 6 years ago when Mark Price had to go out with appendicitis and appendectomy. They brought Elo back from the CBA, and since then he has become a fixture in the NBA. Minute to play in the third quarter. Michael Jordan, how's the wrist? Came up short. Maybe it's hurting. 48 seconds to go in the quarter.
Cleveland Chicago late getting back, and they get a run out. Chicago has relaxed here,
and the lead has been cut to 12.
Yeah, Cleveland can take this opportunity here to jump right back on them. The lead is 22.
Excuse me. Beg your pardon.
Change that. I thought, man, those 30 points went down to 12.
I was real excited about that. Jordan missing from the perimeter again. Rebound Cleveland. 26 seconds to go in the quarter. 84-62. Wilkins.
Tough shot there. Tough shot in that situation. Good chance to keep it going and to get something going towards the hole as they have been doing.
Nice pass from Jordan to Stacey King. Good block by Williams. It'll belong to Chicago. 6.6 seconds to go in the quarter.
Hot Rod Williams, one of the better shot blockers at the power forward position in the league. He and Larry Nance.
Williams on his knees trying to defend Jordan. Jordan is definitely hurting. He's holding his wrist as he backed away. And he just said to John Paxson, I could see as he spoke right in front of our table here, I don't know if I can go, was what he said. He definitely can't shoot. We saw him take 3 shots. This free throw will be a difficult situation for him.
Well, the shots have come up short every time he has taken them since he hurt that wrist.
This could really be significant.
Yeah, not even close.
He just can't play.
Not even close. Can't get the follow through.
We won't see him anymore after this quarter.
He can't get the follow through.
Maybe he should go left-handed.
Yeah, he probably will. I would not be surprised.
He does.
It almost makes it.
That's the end of the quarter. Maybe the end of the night for Michael Jordan. A sprained right wrist. And the Bulls lead it by 22 going into the final 12 minutes. Beautiful nighttime view of downtown Chicago where the Bulls lead the Cavs 22 points with 12 minutes to go in this ball game. Terrell Brandon, the backup point guard for Cleveland, was injured on this play. Looks like he steps on Pippen's foot.
Yeah, just about now. See a turnover right there. He goes down. Pippen helps him down just a little bit. But he has been taken back to the dressing room. Will not see him anymore in this game.
And Michael Jordan is on the bench. He has a sprained right wrist, and as you saw in the last couple of minutes of that third period, Barry missing the three-point attempt, run down by King. Michael Jordan could not even shoot a free throw with his right wrist. He had to go to his left hand for the second of 2 free throws. So I would doubt seriously if we see Michael Jordan back in this game with the Bulls leading it by 22 points.
Scottie Pippen's going to have to knock down some. Stacey King got to the basket that time.
It's Chicago ball off Craig Elo.
Well, there's Michael. Has the ice on that wrist.
Scott Williams from the perimeter.
Well, Cleveland has to feel good about Scott Williams shooting that shot right there. But even he knocks that down on a night like tonight.
I'll tell you what, everybody in the stands here got really quiet after Michael Jordan went to the bench. Williams turns it over for Cleveland. 11:05 to go in the game. Pippen just outruns everybody. Missed the layup. Williams to Price. And the scoop shot from Mark Price. And it's still a 22-point lead.
Well, it's going to have to be Price that leads them back. You'll see Cleveland go more and more to the screen and roll out front for Price. Try to get him around there, headed towards the basket, and Chicago turns it over again.
Pippen on the drive, tried to hit the baseline pass. It's out of bounds, and Larry Nance back on the floor. Nance, Williams, Ferry, Price goes to the bench. Elo and Wilkins are the guards now.
So Price out of there again. I think you'll see him back here. Did not play the last 7 minutes of game number 1 in this series. He was not real happy about that. So I anticipate we'll see him back in there soon.
Ferry in for about a minute has taken 2 errant three-point attempts. 10 seconds for the Bulls. Scott Williams. Not this time. Elo rebound. Pippen hit the deck, but he's okay.
Bodies flying everywhere.
Wilkins doesn't get the bounce. Ferry has it knocked out of bounds by Chicago. It'll be Cleveland ball. Timeout with 9:55 to go in the game, and the Bulls leading it by 22. Brandon in the locker room with a sprained left ankle. He won't return. Jordan on the bench with a sprained right wrist. It's time for tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. Second chance points. Bulls up big. Center comparison. Bulls up big.
Yes, they are. Brad Daugherty once again struggling, having a hard time figuring out the double teams that Chicago has been running at him. A lot of times they haven't doubled up on him, but he has hesitated as he has waited for the double team to come, and he's ended up taking some low percentage shots.
Well, the Chicago defense once again has been the star of this game, even more than Jordan. Bounce pass into Williams. He can't control it. Nance tried to make the pass. He comes back to him. He's fouled from behind as he tried to take the shot by Scottie Pippen. Here's an indication of how good the Chicago defense. The first 10 minutes of the game, Cleveland scored 25 points. In the last 26 minutes, Cleveland scored 39 points. That's on pace for 72 points in this game.
Well, things should come just a little bit easier for Cleveland with Michael Jordan sitting over there on the bench. Cleveland led the NBA in field goal percentage. They, of course, have dropped some in the playoffs, as percentages normally do. But they are very bad here tonight. 43%.
Bulls by 20. This will be a good test of the Bulls to see how they can do with Jordan on the bench with a sprained right wrist. Scott Williams to Pippen. Gets everybody airborne. He'll go to the free throw line. That's on Denny Ferry.
Well, I've said it a couple times here that Pippen with Jordan on the bench, Pippen is the guy that has to pick it up. Of course, Paxson will try to find the spot-up positions on the floor. Danny Ferry picks up the foul. The problem with that is that with this unit on the floor, Paxson is going to have to be the guy that's running the offense. So I would imagine he would have a hard time getting the passes from the rest of the guys on the floor. So Pippen has to start creating some shots and some points for himself.
Pippen gets 1 out of 2 here. Ferry with a rebound. It's 21-point Bulls lead with 9:20 to go in the game. Prior to the Jordan injury, it was as frenzied and tenacious and intense Chicago Bulls stretch of basketball as I've seen all year.
Well, they were doing everything, led by Michael Jordan, of course.
Williams with a big rebound. He has 9 rebounds in this game. Williams had 10 in game number 1. Horace Grant hasn't been back in. Remember, he's playing with a sore ankle also. Chicago definitely nicked up. Injuries could be the only chink in their armor. Williams has it stripped away. Out to Elo. Pippen just levels Elo. He looked like an offensive tackle with a takedown block.
Yeah, and he caught Elo extended to come up with that pass. Now, it was very unintentional, the contact. So nothing flagrant about that. No intentional foul call. Nice.
Elo with the lay-in. Cavs cut it to 19. 8:26 to go. I've got the crowd going here. They're uncomfortable with their 19-point lead.
Well, see, Elo has been able to use the screens out high and get the quick slashing move to the basket. That has given him a higher percentage shot. And Pippen right now struggling as he has not been able to get his offense going.
Beautiful move by Elo, but he can't get it to fall. Saved by Rodney McCray. Rodney McCray hits the bucket from 18. He's been the forgotten man. And interestingly, Goose, we saw at halftime, the man who left, they brought in Rodney McCray. When the Bulls did not sign Cliff Levingston, he went to Europe, and Cliff's in the building tonight.
Cliff is here tonight. Maybe Chicago will bring him back. They have missed Cliff's energy off the bench. Missed it a lot this season.
Nance from Williams. It is a 19-point Bulls lead, however, still with 7:30 to go.
What you're seeing right now from Cleveland is a real good job of spreading the offense, forcing Chicago's defense to extend some, and good screens set by the guys on the weak side.
Pippen with the jump shot. Chicago certainly content now to simply trade baskets. The intensity of the defense has definitely lessened with 7 minutes to go in the game.
Oh, man. Stacey King laid right into Craig Elo. A real high form. Got him right under the chin.
Elo takes more punches than Jerry Corey took.
But he keeps coming at you just as he did.
Yes, he does. Elo needs a cut man. Bulls by 21. Wilkins tried to get the reverse. It was stripped away. Pippen.
Wilkins got hit across the arm, stayed there and complained a while, and he was fortunate he didn't get burned that time. Chicago decided to pull it out instead of going right to the basket.
Rodney McCray. Misses this time, and the foul is on Scott Williams. Chicago Bulls with a timeout. Horace Grant on the bench with a sore ankle. Michael Jordan on the bench with a sore wrist. Bulls by 21 with 6:36 to go in this ball game. They lead in the series 1-0. You could count it as 2 already, I think. This would be the biggest loss of the season. It was 115-95. So to give you an idea of how significant this is, Cleveland has played well all year.
Well, Cleveland has been so potent offensively this season, averaging 108 points a game over the regular season. So it's very surprising here that they're having as much difficulty scoring points here in the playoffs as they have.
Purdue in at center for Chicago. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Now 5. Never an uncontested shot. Elo kicks to Ferry. Purdue got in his face. It's going to be Cleveland ball.
Well, you just like to have Larry Nance on the floor because he is working hard. He usually does work hard when he's out there. He kept that one alive, forced it to go off the hands of Chicago, and Cleveland gets it back.
Wilkins open for the jumper. Rebound, Scottie Pippen. Pippen has 6 rebounds to go with his 19 points.
I see Chicago running all the plays for Scottie Pippen right now. Now it goes the other way because Cleveland played that very well.
Will Purdue with a behind-the-back pass to McCray. It's blocked.
Well, probably a chance for Purdue to take the shot that time.
Yeah. Williams with a jumper. Bulls by 19, 5.5 to go. Williams playing center for Cleveland now. Doherty has not had a productive night. He's on the bench with only 8 points. Shot clock to 5. Armstrong's jumper drops over Gerald Wilkins.
Now Chicago right now, after building the lead by getting up and down the floor, just running fast breaks all the time, now they have gone to the half-court offense, using as much of the shot clock every time down. They've been able to get good shots as the time has been running out. Danny Ferry fumbles it out of bounds.
And look at that. This time it was Pippen and McCray with the double-team trap.
Well, Rodney McCray, you mentioned he hasn't had much time. There's Jordan on the bench, will probably not play anymore. But Rodney McCray has the experience. He's been around a long time. A good chance for Rodney here to earn some playing time by giving a good effort here in this game.
10 on the shot clock. 4:35 to go in the game. Pippen down on the baseline. Armstrong with 2 seconds. Purdue with a tip-in. Counting. Bulls by 23.
But you saw the use of the shot clock again. 2 seconds left when that shot went up. Pippen will pick up the foul. Will Purdue with the nice follow. Watch right here. Now this is 2 seconds left when B.J. Armstrong lets go. Good high percentage shot. Doesn't go, but Will Purdue with the follow.
Once again, Michael Jordan with a sprained right wrist. Came back in the game with a tape on it. Tried to play. Could not shoot his jumpers. He shot a couple of air balls, and then when he was fouled, went to the free throw line. Missed the first one. Had to shoot his second free throw with his left hand. Chicago still tough on defense, even without Michael in this game. Cleveland 4 of 11 from the floor since Michael left.
Yeah, and it might be that Lenny Wilkins here is saying, we just don't have it tonight, guys. We are going to call it in as he is coming now with all substitutes on the floor except Mike Sanders.
Purdue hits the jumper.
That's a good shot for Will Purdue. He has the touch. He can face the basket. Oh, look at Scottie Pippen. Look at Scottie.
Still battling, still fighting with Bobby Phills. His first playoff action in this series. 23-point Bulls lead. Sanders gets the lay-in. The questions for Chicago, obviously, are Horace Grant's ankle. He came in very courageously, got 10 first-quarter points, hasn't played most of the second half, and Michael Jordan's wrist. It seems as if the only thing that can stop Chicago, at least the way they've looked in these early playoff rounds, are injuries.
I think the question about Grant's ankle has already been answered.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a great game, 20 points, and it's rebounded well. I mean, you can't ask more than that. Now, Michael, it's going to be another question because he could not get the shots up, and that has to be a concern.
Will Purdue battling big on the boards. He has 3 rebounds in limited playing time.
Once again, Chicago just content to back it out, to use the shot clock, get it down as far as they can, and then get the shot up towards the basket.
Purdue with a turnover, looking for B.J. Armstrong in the corner. 21-point Bulls lead, under 3 minutes to go now. Timeout on the floor. It's all Bulls, but Michael Jordan has the injured wrist. The Chicago Bulls lead it by 21 with under 3 minutes to go in the game and are about to go up 2-0 in this series as it heads back to Cleveland. Both teams going to the benches here to finish this one out. But the questions are, A, for Cleveland, what are they going to possibly do to try to tackle this Bulls team? 2, how is Terrell Brandon? He was injured and taken off and does not return with a left ankle sprain. And for Chicago, Horace Grant came in with a sprain from game 1, played some, but hasn't played in the second half. We think he's okay with his ankle, but Jordan is on the bench with a sprained right wrist that seemed to be really in quite a bit of pain.
I think the first question you ask is the one that's most pressing here. What is Cleveland going to do to answer this Chicago team? There's Michael. He's taking the ice off. I just think Cleveland has to find a way to match Chicago's intensity. I mean, I think that's the real story there. Chicago comes out playing like the team that is the best in this series. They will not allow Cleveland to think even for 1 second that they have any chance of beating them here. Cleveland has to find a way to match that, turn things around, and it will probably take getting back home to do that. But Chicago playing with so much confidence right now, I don't know if that's enough.
This series goes back to Cleveland for a Saturday afternoon game. Then we'll have the Monday game for you from Cleveland on Monday night. Will Perdue from 15 feet. 97-78 Chicago with 2:25 to go. The damper on the Chicago victory with the injury to Michael Jordan.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big question mark also as to whether or not Michael's going to be able to come back and play in game 3.
Well, history would say yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last 2 shots by Chicago here, you're going to have to check that backboard. A couple bricks going up there. Will Perdue and Bill Walker.
Tucker finally hits it from the outside. He's been really cold during this series. Maybe that'll help him a bit. 100-80 Bulls with 1:43 to go. Well, the Bulls defense, Cleveland is yet to find a way to solve the Bulls defense from the trapping, getting it up the floor, and also in the post. Brad Daugherty had only 8 shots in the entire game in game number 1. Tonight, before he went out, he had only 7 shots. They can't get any production out of their all-star center.
I said before this game started, they will not win if Brad Daugherty takes 8 shots again.
And
he takes 7 tonight.
Bingo.
He had all 7 of those in the first half. So, it's not been there for Brad. And once again, Mark Price has to sit out the 4th period here.
Mark Price with only 13 points in this game to go with 7 assists. But he's had limited playing time because it has basically been a blowout since mid-3rd quarter. Well, actually, before that, it was 15
even
points.
before that, sure. I mean, Chicago established the pace early in this game, and they told Cleveland right from the beginning how they're going to play, and they said it's going to be on the defensive end, and that's how it's been. They have forced numerous turnovers and gotten a lot of easy baskets because of that.
You see the ice packs on the Scottie Pippen ankles. Those are not injuries. He packs them down like that all the time. He's going to have ankle surgery after the season.
He is, in fact, injured, but he's playing on those, and he will continue to play that way the rest of the year.
It's a mash unit.
Yeah, they're going to have to call in another ice truck here.
50 seconds to go in the game. Coming up right after this one now, we have the Spurs and the Phoenix Suns, and John Lucas having the same kind of problem after game 1. Purdue down to Darrell Walker for the lay-in, has the same kind of problem with the Phoenix Suns. He has to make adjustments. It'll be interesting to see what happens there as Gary Bender and Hubie Brown will have that game for you.
Now, San Antonio played pretty well in game 1 of that series, and I think John Lucas feels confident that his team can go in there and win.
Under 30 seconds to go in this ball game. The Chicago Bulls are going to take a 2-0 lead. Will Purdue's turnaround jumper falls.
Will Perdue will get more minutes because of the way he played here in this game. And that's the kind of night it's been. That's the kind of night it's been. Although Sanders does get that one to go finally. But just as you saw in that play, Cleveland has had to struggle for about everything they've gotten in this game.
Cleveland will be headed to the airport as soon as this game's over. They will be happy to get out of Chicago back to Richfield Coliseum on Saturday afternoon. The Bulls by 19, 104-85. The question lingers, however, what is the condition of the wrist of that man, Michael Jordan? He has his right arm down to his side. He is definitely injured. When he came back into the game after he hurt his wrist, he tried to shoot 2 or 3 jump shots. They would not fall. And the two men who stepped up here, Horace Grant and Pippen, are going to join us here. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant both will come over, and we'll talk to both of them here. If they'll just kind of squeeze on in, Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, come on down here. I'll just use this as a hand mic and be able to talk to you fellas. All right, let me help Horace Grant with the headset, and Scottie will get his on. Goose gave up his chair for this interview. So we have both of them here. First of all, as you fellas, both of you had great games, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But the first thing we want to know about, as I'm sure you do, is Michael Jordan's right wrist. Horace, what do you know about it at this point?
Well, I think right now it's a little tender, but knowing Michael and the person and the player he is, he'll be ready on Saturday.
Yeah, how about it, Scottie? Did you hear anything or talk to him about it at all?
Well, he's been bothered with it pretty much throughout the season, and I'm pretty sure he irritated pretty bad tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. We don't know. I don't exactly know what happened, but just hoping he'll be able to come back with us by Saturday.
Okay, Horace, let's talk to you first of all about your courageous performance coming in with that ankle. It seems about like it's ankle. You said you wanted to be like Mike and Scottie. You got the ankle sprain in game 1. You came out. How is your ankle?
Well, right now it's definitely sore, but I'm pretty sure Chip Schaefer will get me ready for Saturday.
Scottie Pippen, the star of this series so far is not Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, or Michael Jordan. It's Chicago's defense. Tell us about the defense and the intensity you've brought to this series.
Well, I think everybody's trying to come out and bring that intensity to the game, and that's helping our defense out tremendously. We feel like that our defense can help us on the offensive end, and we pretty much picked up intensity. We talk to each other. We help one another out, and that's pretty much how we've been able to win up on this series 2-0.
Scottie, it seems to me that your defense very much keyed around stopping Brad Daugherty. He cannot get a shot because of the aggressive double teams. In fact, you've been able to keep him guessing all night.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how our game plan is, to keep him guessing. Sometimes we hold off and let the guy play him one-on-one. Sometimes we send a double team. But we can keep him guessing like that and keep him off balance. We feel like we'll be fine.
Now, Scottie, as you know, things will be a little bit different as you go into the Coliseum over there in Cleveland. I know they're going to come out a little bit more aggressively as they have in this series to this point. What do you anticipate in Game 3?
Well, we anticipate the same way they always come out. They come out very hard and hit you with a 10-0 lead, but we feel like we can meet the intensity. We know what we can do in our mind, and we know what we got to do when we're on the road.
Yeah, Horace Grant, obviously it's Pippen, Grant, and Jordan are the big three on this Bulls team. What is the feeling with your team when Michael Jordan goes out? For instance, he went out with the ankle for a short time in that Game 3 against Atlanta. A lot of people go, uh-oh, now the Bulls have got to play without Michael. How do you fellas respond to that, and what's in your mind when that happens?
Well, in our mind, we hope that Michael's okay, but we take it upon ourselves as a group to go out there and try to fill his shoes. You know, those are some big shoes to fill, but if everyone collectively come together as a unit, we'll do a good job.
Guys, before we let you go, I think we have to talk about the bench, because I think guys like Stacey King and Scott Williams have come in and played very well for you, as you have needed that at times. I think they've played very well, been a big part of this.
They've definitely stepped up big. They did a tremendous job for us. I think Stacey and Scott, over the time that we had off, they really worked hard in practice, and it's beginning to pay off in the game for us.
Well, Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, two of the big three here who led the Bulls to a 19-point win tonight. Congratulations on that. You're off to Cleveland. We congratulate you here. Go put some more ice on your wounds. It's kind of a, Jack Gibbons said, hope you have enough ice down in the locker rooms for everybody's sprain. Hope you'll be all right. We'll see you on the weekend and again on Monday night.
Thank you.
Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, who led the Bulls after Michael Jordan was injured tonight, 104-85 over the Cleveland Cavaliers to take a 2-0 lead in this series. And we'll be back with more right after this.
Well, the Bulls take the 2-0 lead, 104-85 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Horace Grant had an excellent game. He is our Budweiser player of the game. Horace Grant was not even expected to start in this ball game tonight because of the ankle injury from game 1, but he comes in and scores 10 points in the first quarter and just had a whale of a ball game as our Budweiser player of the game.
Well, Bob, he played very well. They didn't expect him to play, but I think what he did really exemplifies what we've seen from Chicago in this series. Just superb efforts from everyone, and I think it's real important that the big three for Chicago has stepped up and has taken control of this series early, where Cleveland, on the other hand, has not gotten their big guys, Larry Nance, Brad Daugherty, and Mark Price, to really step up and let everyone know that they are the leaders of that team, and they are not doing the things that I think they have to do to lead Cleveland to wins in this series.
Well, we'll see what Cleveland does when they get back to Cleveland. It's a Saturday afternoon game. Last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, Cleveland won game 2 over Chicago when Michael Jordan had a sore throat and Cartwright had back spasms by 26 points. It was not to be tonight. Michael Jordan with a sprained right wrist on his shooting hand. As a matter of fact, he came back in the game to try to play. They had tape on it. Michael had to switch to his left hand for the second of 2 free throws. He is in the locker room now. Both Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen said they think he'll be okay. I don't know whether they think it or hope it, but that's the story.
I would be very surprised if we don't see Michael play in game 3.
History says he'll be back. Right. We'll have a further update in our second game if we learn anything about Michael Jordan's wrist. Coming up next on TNT, game 2 between the San Antonio Spurs and the Phoenix Suns. Stay with us. For Goose Gibbons, this is Bob Neal saying good night from Chicago.